Hey everyone, and welcome to Anchor Watch, your weekly below deck late night chat, I guess, where Josh and I take over Adam's channel to discuss Below Deck. And Below Deck Med has been killing it this season. It's finally like a really good show to watch. We have lots to discuss, lots of fun things to talk about. Be sure to vote in that poll. We'll bring up the results as soon as we get through this. It's so weak this week. Guys, ding ding ding. Welcome to Anchor Watch.
It's so hot. Jason, it's so hot. It's so hot.
So hot.
Outside, it's so hot right now.
It's so hot.
You know what? The show is hot. I'm hot.
The show is hot. Everything's hot. You know what was hot though? I almost called you Adam because you guys look so similar in the face.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
No, what was so hot was the ratings last night for Watch What Happens Live when we had Kyle, our second stew from Below Deck Med, and Chef Ryan from Below Deck Down Under. I mean, they hit like over 500,000 views, which is like not normal for a Below Deck Watch What Happens Live week.
Oh my gosh. If only there was a way to talk more with Kyle.
Yeah, well, that's so crazy because Adam just did an interview with Kyle today. It is a fantastic interview dropping tomorrow, 6 p.m. EST, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Definitely check it out. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. So if you want to set a reminder or get a notification, it is a fantastic conversation. I'm so happy Kyle joined us, and he talked about his experience on Watch What Happens Live. So I think that will be really fun to kind of chat about.
It's cool because actually that's an aspect that like we always ask about, like back behind the stage with the show and stuff, but that's a whole other show. We actually don't hear about the process and stuff. So that's really cool that you got someone to share about that. Yeah, I'm excited to tune in for Adam's interview.
And also Adam's getting like, I don't know what it is, but Below Deck, getting those interviews, it's so fun because they're just, it's not like talking to a housewife or anything who has kind of like this idea about themselves, like, you know what I mean? They don't kind of open up, whereas like the yachties, they open up. They're like, oh, let me tell you. Like if you didn't see Adam's interview with Aisha from Below Deck Down Under, that was fantastic. Kyle did share, because he is friends with Aisha, they just hung out in New York, and he did share if he would rather be under Chief Stew Aisha from Below Deck Down Under or Chief Stew Natasha from the current season of Med. He's sharing a lot. It's fun, and I think you guys will really, really enjoy the conversation that they had together.
Well, you know, I was saying it just last episode. I'm on the verge of announcing a hashtag Team Kyle. I'm so close.
You did say that last week, and that's why we reached out. That's why we reached out.
I really like him, and you know what? And we're gonna get into this on the episode, but the way he, and especially, oh gosh, I get the girls confused half the times. They look like the way him
and Natalia.
Yes, yeah. The way him and Natalia banter back and forth and tease each other. I mean, it's very much like our relationship and stuff. And so I feel like Kyle, like if we went out for drinks and stuff, I think it would take about 2 seconds for Kyle to fit in with our group and be shooting the shit back and forth. So yeah, I
100%.
Yeah, I appreciate his sense of humor and stuff. I'm really liking him on the show. I'm liking everyone on the show.
You know what I have to say about this cast, Josh? I do have to say that we have kind of there's many departments, but everyone kind of has that common goal of we need to get shit done. And well, I don't know, where do we start with this? Let's start with a rumor. I love rumors, especially Below Deck rumors. They're fun.
Well, okay, this rumor too, I think everybody, I mean, we've been saying it since the first episode. All of our friends have been saying it. Everyone in the chat says it. If you go look at comments, people said it. What's the rumor, Jason? What's the official rumor?
Well, I heard this rumor, and of course it's about our bosun, Raygan, who has been deemed the worst boss in Below Deck history on Twitter. So this is Raygan, our bosun, who is a little unorganized, and we'll get into the episode and talk more about her. I did hear this rumor before. I saw it again repeated on Twitter. Let me see if I can bring this up. And the rumor is that within the next couple episodes, Raygan will be let go, and they will be bringing back Courtney, who I believe was on last season of Below Deck Med. However, we don't know who the bosun will be, and I'm guessing it's going to be one of our 3 deckhands, Jason, Storm, or Z. Now, last season, Z was kind of green to the yachting industry, so he was taking in a lot of information from Malia. However, Z can step up, but Storm, Sandy seems to really like him, and he's sharing his stories of, kind of being the big brother and taking care of his, younger siblings when he was growing up. And I just like, oh, are we working this storyline where Storm is going to step up and take over?
Yeah, and also I personally think Storm would be a good one because one, Z would have his back, so he'd automatically have an ally. But also, he's very capable, but he is green when it comes to the super yacht stuff. Like, he didn't know to plug in the I can't even forget their name, but the water jets and stuff like that. Some of those stuff he just doesn't know yet. He hasn't been exposed to it yet. It sounds like Storm knows this stuff and has experience. And
Agreed.
So you get his buddy's going to support him. You got Jason, who is a great worker and would support him. It's kind of disappointing. The thing that I've been thinking about is, would I like Raygan? I'm not liking Raygan right now because she's not being a good leader and she's in a leadership role. Would I have liked her if she was second, third stew brought on to be part of the crew? Would we have noticed that her work ethic? Would she be better if she was being told what to do?
But would she? Because I'm not sure. Because Captain Sandy's trying to guide her a little bit to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt and the opportunity to prove herself. And it seems like it's not being overcome in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. I don't know. It's almost, I mentioned this last time, it's almost like, what was on your resume? And was it truthful? Because it doesn't seem like you know how to lead a team.
She made it sound like she's done all this stuff, and apparently she has. But then the conversation with Sandy, like in the wheelhouse there, she basically kind of admitted, like, yeah, but I haven't done it at the super yacht level. I haven't done something with such a big crew. So it's like, I don't know. And one of the things Natalie and I were talking about last night is, like, you could see kind of the disappointment in Captain Sandy, because Captain Sandy's like, hey, I'm a female captain. I'm trying to give other women a chance to be in leadership roles in an industry that doesn't necessarily have a lot of women leaders on the exterior and in the captain side of things. And she's kind of like, you're letting me down, dude. You're kind of blowing it here, And so it's a bummer, because it was a cool thing when the show started. You're like, cool. Female captain, you got a female bosun. This is cool.
Replacing a female bosun from a previous season who was really experienced, like her or not. Malia did have a lot of experience under her belt. She was also able to manage a team and be a decent leader. So interesting. Very interesting. Someone also brought up, why are we seeing Malia every episode? It's always a flashback to Malia, but when you have a new bosun, it's kind of like when you had a new chief stew, like from Hannah. We saw Hannah a few times when she was replaced by Francesca. Is it Francesca? Am I mixing them up? Probably.
At this point there, I feel like it's just one huge crew.
Guys, let's say hi to everyone in the room. Welcome to another Anchor Watch, another great episode, Josh. But let's do some shout outs, guys. If you haven't seen Watch What Happens Live with Kyle, the second stew, who in the poll in the live chat, you have voted as your favorite new cast member on Below Deck Med. And I have to agree, he just adds so much like light and fun and it just quirkiness. I love it. So shout out to Kyle. His interview drops tomorrow, 6 p.m. with Adam. Also, shout out to Captain Sean. Everyone knows Captain Sean here at Anchor Watch, Team Sean, who is on his way to Greenland in a beautiful, beautiful yacht. Because Captain Sean on Below Deck Season 9 delivered my Sienna to Captain Lee and to basically the area that the charter was going to be running out of.
So Sean was texting me about this. And when I first looked up the ship, I actually thought he was being funny and he's actually on Home. Because that's the ship, and it looks a lot like Home. So I thought he was being like kind of cheeky and being like, "Oh, hey, look at this. Have you ever seen this ship?" And I was like, "Oh, you jerk, you're on Home," but it's not. And Jason, you pulled some of the photos, right?
Oh yeah, this is motor yacht Lunacy, which he is transporting to Greenland currently. And guys, like I'm in love with Home because Home is the first like modern yacht we've seen on Below Deck. But this is the yacht that Captain Sean is taking. It
Yeah.
even has like a little pool.
Yeah,
You-
Jason could be on Home. This is the one I want to be.
okay, listen.
Look at this gorgeous. Wait, go back one. You went too fast, Jason. Look at that interior.
Guys,
Like,
we could have a naughty yachty party on this boat.
yes.
All the naughty yachties in the chat room, we could be on this boat right now. All we have to do is pay the tip, a big, big tip.
Look at this.
It's just stunning. And this is where Captain Sean is currently. If you follow him on Instagram, he is the Excitement Factory, Captain Sean from season 9. But I haven't seen this on a motor yacht before, an indoor theater.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Amazing?
This is amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible. But anyway, let's jump into the episode and where do we start? I guess the beginning.
We start at the beginning. I mean, we start with the crew going out, having fun, and our bosun gets just ripped drunk. Everyone else knows they have to work the next day. They're a little hungover, but she ends up staying in bed for literally hours in the morning while her crew is out there trying to figure out what to do.
It was funny because, we saw at the moment where Natasha, because at dinner too, with all the dancing that, we were so graced with from Raygan, but we also saw Chef Dave kind of get a little jealous of Jason and Natasha. I don't know if they were actually flirting or they're just getting to know one another, but he got kind of jealous and brought it back to the ship and kind of confronted Jason in a weird way. I couldn't really understand what Chef Dave was really like trying to say to him. He's like, man, like,
huh? Mr. Tough Guy. He was just kind of like poking him, like, oh, you're so tough. Oh, and it's, I don't know. I was embarrassed for him from like that whole evening. The way he was acting while they were out, like, hey, why aren't you giving me attention and stuff? It's like, dude, you're doing the absolute wrong thing to do if you're trying to win someone over and get their attention and stuff. Just pestering them. And when everyone's having fun, you don't want to be the weepy guy in the corner going, oh, come give me attention. It's like, maybe in junior high, you think that's the right thing to do.
But, I mean, listen, and we'll come back to Chef Dave, but I just wanted to point out when Chef Dave went back to his cabin and Natasha was in the shower, she came out, I think it was like 2:55, the timestamp was or something. And it was like 9 hours to charter. I'm thinking in my head, that's like noon. This new charter is going to get on the boat. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's been drinking, drastically. And I don't know. I think I'm more of like an organizer. I need to be prepared. I don't know if I could have survived. I mean, obviously, Raygan did not survive, so much so that you saw the rest of the deck crew wake up about 6 a.m. to get their stuff done, and then Raygan stayed in bed.
Yeah, well, and I thought it was so pathetic when she shows up. Captain Sandy finally goes, okay, come on down. We're going to do we're going to have the meeting before the guests come. Look at the preference sheets. I need I need Chef Dave. I need Natasha and Raygan come. And they're sitting there waiting for the other two to show up. And she tells, Sandy, oh, I'm not feeling well. And Captain Sandy's like, yeah, you're hungover. And she's like, I think it could be food poisoning too. And she's like, don't kid yourself.
Because this is food poisoning.
Yeah.
Right.
It's called alcohol poisoning, baby. Like, what are you doing?
It was so funny and weird. Like, it's so weird. But I mean, at least here's the thing, because now we're seeing Chef Dave a lot. Chef Dave will also be on Up and Atom at some point this week, which I'm also really excited about because he is working on a project in the Ukraine right now, like a World Aid Kitchen project. So that will be fun to hear about. But Captain Sandy has noticed that this guy is like one of the best chefs that she's ever worked with. He's like an artist, and that's something that sets him apart from other chefs she has worked with on previous seasons. The two Adams, Chef Ben. I don't know. I'm really impressed with him and kind of his just focus and presentation of everything he does.
Yeah, and also too, like, he did win me back the second half of the episode. I think he's just one of those guys where it's like, dude, do yourself a favor. Don't drink on the off nights. Or if you do, have a cocktail or two. Don't put yourself there. You don't handle it well. You're just going to embarrass yourself. You're liable to mess up this budding relationship you have with this seemingly great girl. Like, just, you got too much going for you. Don't do that.
Seriously.
You know? And
Seriously.
let's not forget, you're on a network television, a cable network television show. That's going to last forever. You know, like, be careful.
That is not going anywhere. And it helps some and it doesn't help others, you know, case in point. But you know, where Chef Dave kind of redeemed himself too, I think, with all of the viewers, is that he was able to go to Jason and realize, you know what, last night I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I had too much to drink. Whatever. I mean, listen, I don't know if Jason would be a threat to Chef Dave. I mean, I guess only time will tell, but
well,
sure.
I mean, shortly after they had their falling out, not only did Chef Dave display his presentation skills, but also his penetration skills.
Oh,
when
my goodness.
Natasha spent 28 minutes in the shower. So
I do have to say, though, I can see why Below Deck Med got 2 Emmy nominations, because they had me in suspense here, right? Chef Dave texts Natasha and say, hey, do you want to talk about last night? You know, meet me in the cabin. You know, Natasha only has 5 minutes. She's in the shower. 5 minutes turns into 28 minutes. But the whole suspense of this shot right here, where it started so far out and then slowly just zoomed in, and we're waiting. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. It's been whatever, 28 minutes later. You notice that she started in the shower and he finished in the shower.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, and you know, to his credit, they gave him 28 minutes. It wasn't like 2 minutes later. You know what I mean? So
this is probably why she, like, what last episode says, hey, do you want to screw? I don't know. Very interesting.
They seem to be fine. They seem to be happy. I just think, I don't know, alcohol just, once you hit a certain age, it's more trouble than it's worth. Like, just tone it down, temper it. Jason.
Why are you pointing at me? I'm not even having a drink tonight.
Oh.
You know, it's really interesting, though, is when Natasha chose, like, that night when everything was erupting and it was so late, when she chose to go sleep in the primary suite, which we've seen that's such a no-no on so many other, you know, different seasons. But she is the person who kind of makes that decision, being the chief stew. So she's like, I'll clean this in the morning. I'll do this. Someone brought up a really good point too. They said, why are they allowed to kind of co-ed share bunks or cabins in this yacht as compared to other seasons where you've seen that been, you know, such a big deal? And the answer is, it's kind of up to the yacht management company and the owners of the yacht and how that happens. And like Captain Sandy pointed out in the very first episode, they don't care. So this is what you get. We get a dramatic season of Below Deck Med.
And I have to think, like, I know that they showed moments where the production crew is supposedly interviewing Natasha and David about their relationship and learning stuff for the first time. But I have to think, when you're putting together a crew and you're about to send them out on this yacht for a season, you've got to know where people are sleeping. You've got to know something's going on and they're cool with sharing a room. They're like in a relationship.
Ginger.
A lot of handymen. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of handymen. You just made that joke. That's funny.
I'm looking at Joe.
I'm the easiest audience.
Hold Joe's latest comment back to Marianne.
Marianne, because I think Marianne said that he was the rebound guy.
Yeah.
And then Joe says, he's not a bad guy to rebound. I'll bounce that. Wow. That chat is naughty yachty tonight, guys. I can't tell you what.
Yeah, for those of
But
you who are on the replay crew, you got to watch it with the chat going, because that's half the show is what's going on in the chat.
hey, hello, absolutely. And if you're here participating with 110 in the room, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. It helps us out tremendously. This show, doing the show, Josh, has gotten just so much more fun. I feel like we have such a great crew in here in the live chat, and it's just a fun conversation about a show I think we all enjoy. I do have to say though, like Chef Dave is kind of like he's an interesting, mysterious guy, right? Because this guy, he touts all his adventures, like he climbs Everest and jumps out of planes and all this kind of stuff.
Hugging a yak or something in one photo.
Hugging a yak. And then crying in bed when Natasha's not in the same room. Like, this guy has so many layers and is so dynamic. Like, I can't wait till Adam interviews him and we can find out more about this guy. And he's in the Ukraine right now working on a World Aid Kitchen. This is awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I mean, isn't it interesting, a role that, I don't know, if you would have asked me going into this, who would be the interesting roles, I would have never guessed the chef was, like, I would think, because they're kind of loners and they're working by themselves. But like between Chef Marcos and him, we've had some amazing chefs, on other ones. It's like they end up being some of like the rock stars of this show. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
Either become rock stars or they get fired really quickly, like we saw in Sailing, with Mila.
Yeah, Shooting Star.
Oh no, that was Med, wasn't it? That was Med. Mila was Med. Who was the other one that was not great on Sailing? Guys, if you know in the chat. I forgot. Anyway, it was funny. It's funny. The only one I didn't like that got fired was Kiko on Below Deck Med. He was a good time. He was a good time, but he didn't last. He didn't last. Yeah, that's a very interesting position. You either win or you lose there. Like you said, Chef Marcos, Chef Rachel, right now she is dragging people on her social media. I don't know if you've seen that. We even said tonight that Below Deck is killing it, and she replied to Adam, she's like, actually not really. Below Deck OG had more of the higher ratings and whatever all over the world. And yes, as I do understand that, and I cannot wait till the original Below Deck comes back, but season 9 was just such a bore. It was Below Deck at its probably worst point.
Yeah,
I love mentioning Below Deck season 9.
Everyone take a drink.
Everyone take a drink. All right, let's move on a little bit.
So they basically they got their stuff together. Sandy kind of plainly gave, like, she essentially said, and that's why I think this rumor is a fact. She said to her, like, you've got to prove to me you deserve this job, essentially.
Show me how you're going to be organized. Stop blaming other people for your mistakes. And instead of worrying about other people's weaknesses, and this is where Sandy is actually a good leader. She says, you need to focus on what your weaknesses are, because that's going to help you be a better leader. And I couldn't agree with her more on that.
We talked about this last week. I saw some people agree with me. I had said that I really feel like Captain Sandy we're watching her grow with these seasons.
Yeah.
Also, she seems to be watching and reading social media and aware of, like, the things people say. I personally think she's been making a valiant effort of not being micromanaging the season and relying on her, her heads of departments, which, like, what a horrible season for her to choose to do that. Because right now, kind of that deck crew kind of needs her.
It's not even the deck crew. I just feel like they have no leadership.
That's what I'm saying.
When Raygan finally showed up, right, when everyone was awake trying to, like, okay, what do we do? Where is our leader? Look how she makes the Anchor Watch schedule. She's like writing in like calligraphy on a piece of paper and pink pen. Like, it's really hard to read, but her instructions are, okay, so one of us can wish wash, the other one can use a broom, the other one can wipe down. Just do whatever you feel like doing, really. What the hell?
Yeah. We were already doing what we thought we should do. So we didn't need you to come in and restate the obvious. Yeah. She's going to be gone. Everyone sees the writing.
Listen, I do have to say, Josh, I think you brought a good point, in the past, two episodes we've been talking about, that I think it's important to give Captain Sandy a reset here. with a new yacht, new crew, most of a new crew besides Z. And I think people are kind of agreeing with that. I think, it's interesting. I do think, though, she did say that she has never, ever hit anything in her career. So hitting that dolphin, which is coming up next episode, which I'm assuming by the way it's edited, that maybe Raygan made a mistake about the distances from the dolphin. I'm not sure, but that could go into what Captain Sandy was talking about earlier with the trust. She needs to trust her bosun. She needs to trust her chef and Chief Stew. And I think that's what's missing. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. It really could.
The chat's going fast and furious, but I'm reading some of these comments. Like Marianne,
I'm going to bring some up right now.
Yeah, she said, like, I think she's getting the hang of reality TV.
Joe, it's been 7 seasons. I hope she's gotten the hang of it by now.
Joe's saying, I don't understand how Raygan says she has 10 years of experience, which if she is a bosun now, it's taking a while to get there. Malia became a bosun in like 2 years. Let's see, Tess. That's part of her technique, Jason. They have to solve the puzzle before they start Anchor Watch to sharpen their minds and awareness. Annika's thrown out to Joe. I think she lied on her resume. This is funny stuff. Marianne's saying, Joe, she lied.
Listen, Tiffany says, this is so hard for me to do, guys, because I did this, I think, the first week we did Anchor Watch on Below Deck Med. I always want to go to the next episode, but then I start talking about the next episode as well. So I forced myself to not watch it.
I started to watch half an episode a week or two before, and that started to bleed into my comments. So yeah, Tiffany, like, I will watch. Now I have a week to figure out when I want to watch that episode. So I'll watch it early, but I won't watch it before our show because I know that's going to taint what I'm going to say. And I want us talking about this episode as it's delivered to you guys. And then sometimes I know, like, we're saying stuff and then, the next episode actually reveals, oh, it wasn't this or it wasn't that. But, I'd rather us go along with each episode as it comes along.
You know what we didn't talk about from this episode? We talked about how great the crew is, which they're fantastic. Like I said, I really feel they do really have that common goal. But the charter guests this season, Emily Butler and her husband and family and friends came on board. They are drinkers. And I think this is going to be kind of a fun little charter.
Yeah, the two guys got really drunk there towards the end of the episode, but at least they weren't. We've seen some guys that get like kind of scary, almost violent. Like these guys at least just seem kind of more, goofy. Like I'm like, okay, this is okay. There's some episodes where you're like straight up concerned for the health and safety of the crew, but these guys don't seem. It just seems more like they're asses and embarrassing themselves, but not violent or scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're going to add to a lot of fun. I mean, that's some of the complaint I think we had in, I don't want to say it, but Below Deck season 9, like even the guests weren't like, it wasn't really about anything else. And here I think we've got a really good, solid crew with a weak link. But then what happens when you get rid of the weak link and there's no weak link anymore? I want to see how it kind of progresses into Kyle and Natalia later down the line getting to kind of a tiff. Like, how does that progress? Because this interior team, it's like you can do no wrong, and we really haven't seen, besides those comedic moments that we get from Kyle and Natalia, we haven't really seen a lot of them or kind of dive into their daily routines.
Yeah. It does feel like I don't know, it feels like all the crews, aside from the one who we keep kind of bashing, but aside from her, it seems like all the crews get along so well. It's really hard to imagine any kind of, unless alcohol gets involved, then I think, and like, I liked her first kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that kind of stuff could cause, but like for the most part, like you said at the top of this episode, everyone seems to be rowing in the same direction. They all seem to have like the same goal in mind. They do seem very guest focused, which is a phrase. I think Sandy said that to Ray. She said, I want a bosun who's guest focused, is I think how she put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you want someone who absolutely is thinking of the guests first, and it shows in not big decisions, but all the little decisions all day long. And you see that like in the interior crew, like all the little decisions they're making,
And
constantly
you
being
see
aware.
urgency. There's
Yes.
urgency, right? And when you're not getting urgency from your leader, like Raygan is the least urgent person. Nothing is an immediate concern to her. It's like when it gets there, we'll do it. Oh, we'll just see how it works out. Just pick up a broom and wish wash and do whatever you feel like doing. These are not answers. This is not good leadership qualities. Also, like just seeing Z say the C bobs are not charged, those little things that you like,
C-Bob, that's what it's called. There you go.
those things not being charged, which even Z, who's not even, in a leadership position, saying, well, I mean, yeah, they need to be charged when they come out of the water, but you didn't know that. You've never worked with them before. And that's something that he expressed to Captain Sandy. And I think because Captain Sandy has such a good rapport with Z, she's going to take what he says to her with like, not with a grain of salt. She's going to be like, okay, what is happening here? Let me know because I need to make decisions. And then if she calls the distances wrong next week and we run the boat into a big metal thing in the water, then yeah, we have an issue,
I do want to know why it's called a dolphin. Dolphins are
Yeah.
small and playful. And then there's these huge things just sitting there, and it's a dolphin. I wonder if it's like dolphin, like how it's spelled dolphin, or if it's sounds like dolphin, but it's spelled with like
I
two
see. I didn't know. I just looked it up. Is it dolphin? Is it dolphin? You know what? We need to get Captain Sean on here and just go through some key vocabulary in the yachting world. You know what I also want to see, because we have had gay interior crew in the past, like stews and stuff like that, but there's always just one, right? There's never like two where like, oh my God, maybe something would happen between them. But in this season, we get to see Kyle kind of maybe make out with a guest or whatever. It's just funny. I'm not just so excited for this interview dropping tomorrow with Kyle, but I really feel like Kyle is bringing a lot to the season that we haven't even gotten to yet, because we got to get past this Raygan part.
Yeah. And we've only had one crew night. You know what I mean? Like we have many more to come. We have a lot of episodes to come, and it's like the crew is still kind of on their better behavior because they're still just getting to know each other. We haven't hit that point where they all feel comfortable with each other. They're all a little on edge because they've been together for quite a while. Like that's when we start getting like the real good nights
real
out.
shit goes down. That is for sure. Josh, and this is live chat too. If you guys are, you're with us, guys, 120 in the room, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Again, it helps us out so much. I love this. We're going to keep it short tonight because the episode was kind of like, it was fine. Nothing really happened, but it did happen. But what are you looking forward to in the next season? And guys, if you've already seen the next episode on Peacock, do not say anything. I have to watch that immediately. But what are you looking forward to just in the next episode?
Next episode, I mean, we still have more time with these guests. And I think let's see like what kind of mischief they get into. And
they look to be like an interesting group.
They seem like a fun group. I like the fact that they all seem they're not complete jerks. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's fun to get those jerks who treat the crew horribly, because then we all get
like
to go,
the first charter we had on this season, which could have gone left, but I feel like, again, I'm not trying to just like, favor Kyle here, but I feel like he saved a lot of that situation because he was able to connect with the guests. He was able to joke with the guests. I think the interior did a great job in being like, don't look at the bosun and what's happening everywhere else.
Kyle worked that tip.
He worked that tip. I mean, you saw it. It was big and pink and out there.
My God, what are we doing? What are you looking forward to?
I just want to see how Sandy, who is so known for being kind of like really good at docking in tight spaces, no pun intended, but really, really good at getting in there. I want to see how this happened, because you see in the preview that there's a lot of wind. They have to leave early from where they are anchored down.
That's true.
Is it the wind that's pushing? Is this an edit that, because Bravo editing is very clever and we have a great producer on this show. So I wonder if, we're being made to think that Raygan made this mistake, or was it the wind?
Well, and
that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm also curious, like it already from what we saw, it looks like they nudge it a little, but it doesn't really hurt the ship. And so I think they're made to be hit a little bit. It's not like they're just a pillar in the water. I think they're floating.
Sorry. It's the chat. The chat is the best part about this show. I'm still
but I think so it looks like it's not that big a deal too that she bumped it. They seem like more like guides than like I was saying, like a pillar that like, oh, if you hit that, we're gonna rip open the side of the ship.
Yeah.
And like already, even on a good day, she said it's a very windy, there's a lot of current here and stuff like that. So like it's already a challenging, even on its best weather. Now she's racing a storm with high winds trying to get in. I think it could possibly be a little bit of her too. You know what I mean? Just like the elements are just too much to take something that big and force it in.
Force it in like that. I don't know what to see. I've never been one to see Captain Sandy force anything in, so we'll have to see how that works.
Sandy is used to bumping, so apparently he follows along with Captain Sandy's adventures.
Captain Sandy, if you're watching, we apologize, but you should jump.
Yes, we love you.
Listen, it was great. Ayako, we are not covering Down Under anymore because Med is just so much to cover and so fun to cover. And plus, a lot of people were telling me that they've already watched. If you're a big Below Deck fan, you've already seen Down Under on Peacock. And if you want to, you can go over to my old channel and watch some of those recaps as well with Adam. But
yeah, it was starting to feel like from the comments we were getting that it was like me and 4 other people were the first we're seeing Down Under for the first time, and like
the first time
everyone else was like, guys, that's half an episode you're taking up for this, and we've already seen it. So Jason and
I do have to say it was so interesting to watch Kyle with Chef Ryan last night, who is so unapologetically, an ass, right? Like he's just like, I don't care what you think of me. This was written down, fuck off, whatever. Because Kyle is friends with Aisha, and Aisha and Ryan just did not get along at all. That was so interesting. It was also interesting to watch those numbers last night, and it's nice to see Below Deck people in person, in studio, on Watch What Happens Live, and just not
such a rarity
screen. It's a rarity. It really is. You have Kyle, who lives in New York right now. Chef Ryan spends a lot of his time in Philly and New York, so there it goes. It works. I know that Toomey has been in New York for a little bit. And Aisha, who was just on Watch What Happens Live. It's so much better when you have them in person. And it's the thing I love about Below Deck, it's not like we're watching Housewives and we have to figure out which housewife is the criminal. These are all just people like putting on a show for their charter guests on a big yacht of opulence and fun. And that's why it's so fun watching the show.
Yeah, you know what? I don't watch Real Housewives, but I feel like every 2 seconds you and Adam are telling me about one of these housewives getting served papers, going to jail, getting arraigned. I'm like, what the hell kind of show is this?
It's not the same as it started off, it was so cotton candy before, and now it's like, you were on here before we got on, you're like, who is this housewife who got served papers for the $50 million lawsuit at the airport? When she just got back from vacation. I'm like, oh, that's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You got to catch up.
Yeah, you guys, you're watching like Real House Criminals or something. These women are far from real.
And if you don't have a lawsuit or there's no crime, it's like, what are you doing on this show at this point?
Yeah, if you're just a good person, they just drive you off. Like, get out of here. We don't need your high standards of living.
All right, guys, be sure tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, Kyle, the second stew from Below Deck Med, his interview with Adam drops. It is a fantastic interview. I've seen all of it. It is, I think you guys will really love and enjoy that. And we will see you next week to recap the next episode. and let us know if you are part of the replay crew, because I know we get a lot of replay crew, what you're looking forward to in the next episode, but also who your favorite cast member is on Below Deck Bed.
And I'm in the comments, so I answer back. So if you guys are in there chatting, don't worry, I will get to you. I'm having fun talking with all of our friends. So yeah.
Yeah, Josh has no life, so he's just waiting for you guys to comment. So make sure you comment below. No, it's always fun to read. I respond too, so definitely let us know what you're thinking, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, everybody. Love you guys.
Bye, all the naughty yachties.